Steve Wally, and Steve Clark's the referee. Brisbane from right to left. These teams now in a sudden death situation, and a terrible, terrible mistake against Sydney City. Barnhill dropped it 12 metres out from the Sydney City line. Already it's panic stations for Sydney City. Carroll will play it. 10-metre line, centre of the ground. This is where Lang is at his most dangerous. Thorne, he will play the ball 8 metres away from the line. Walters is at first receiver, they leave him out of it. And Tallis goes crashing ahead. Tallis forced down now. As Sydney City try to recover from the Barnhill mistake. Langer uses a second man play, and it's Renoff out wide on the right of the ground, pulled down 2 metres from the line. Now from Lockyer into the hands of Langer, and then Carroll was almost through a gap. It was a desperate save from Gaffey. The last, it looks like they might be able to prevent a try, and Thorne keeps it alive. Walters gets it on, then the kick is off the boot there of Lee, and not a bad kick either. Saved by Barnett. Well, what a pressurised situation first up.
That was just a huge bonus there for the Brisbane Broncos. They couldn't take advantage of it through some very stiff Roosters defence, but David Barnhill will want to make up for that early mistake.
Thumping defence from Brisbane. Sydney City get their second set of 6. The first starting off miserably. Goulet now. Langer going up legitimately, but high to the halfway mark. Fittler now. He knows where to play this game. Down inside the 20-metre zone on the other end of the park. That's the only place that you can be safe to some extent from Brisbane. Lockyer now on his own 10. And Webke offering a run, but the dummy half taking it away. It was the fullback. There's Webke now with a barging run. Carries him out to the 30-metre line. Good yard.
That's a great run from Shane Webke. Will do his confidence the world of good as Brisbane through the short side find Darren Smith in space. He's got support on the inside. Saylor juggles the football and hangs on to it.
That was just incredible from Saylor. How he got down to pick it up in the first place, I'll never know, but then he was able to hang on to it miraculously. Tallis will play the ball. Brisbane are back on the attack again. They're looking sharp, and the kick on the inside from Langer off the outside edge of the boot. Barnhill, they're showing all their skills here, Brisbane, early on.
But that was the mistake made up for there by David Barnhill. Alan Langer, a delicate little chip over the top, and the front rower did well to be there on the inside. The first penalty of the game going to Sydney City. Play the ball infringement against Philip Lee.
Oh, they look good early, don't they, Peter? They're just spinning this ball as soon as they get it out wide, looking for some weaknesses, but the Roosters' defence out wide is very strong and very physical.
Brad Fittler will find touch. In fact, it's a very good kick from Fittler. The breeze is behind Sydney City, and Barnhill has been taken high. Andrew G immediately called over by Stephen Clark.
Right, too high, all right. We're going to put on report, okay? That one's going on report. You get him down.
Oh, my goodness. There is just no defence against it being high. It got him right across the chin. So Barnhill has had an interesting day. He took it up once and dropped it. He took it up again and copped it right across the mouth. And Andrew G is on report. So again, there's a problem for Brisbane, I would imagine, at the judiciary. Sydney City, they've got a chance. They're in an attacking zone, and now it's Barnhill who will play it back for Bonetti to go away for Fittler now. Shapes the kick, doesn't. 2 men ran decoys. Lamb gave the ball. Cleary is pulled down 3 metres from the line, 2 metres in from touch. No dummy half. They have to scramble. Then Lamb, he finds a runner out wide. Barnhill running off Ricketson, I do believe. He will play the ball, Barnhill, back in the centre of the park. 5 metres away. Bonetti goes to Fittler. Fittler gets the pass away for Cleary. Cleary looks at the line, but is refused entry. He'll play it back for Junee now on 5. They'll probably go to the air, and Fittler does that. He goes across, and there's Big Goulet. He was supposed to be out there in a bit of rugby union style football, and he really made a complete meal of it.
Well, Gordon Tallis raced out from the line as Darren Junee threw the pass, and that's a penalty against Richie Barnett for raking the football out. And that put pressure on Brad Fittler to get a kick away. Tried the left footer, it was a wonky one. And the quality of both teams' defence tested very early in this game. Richie Barnett can't help himself here. He definitely plays at the football.
Very interesting play, though, by Sydney City. They've shown their hand on that a couple of times through the year. The big, tall Goulet. He would go up for the bat down, but he messed it up that time. It'll come again to the halfway line, and Philip Lee with a little run from dummy half that's valuable. And another penalty. Another penalty. He will be kicking into the breeze as he opts to kick for goal, but Langer doesn't want to.
We get Scott Goulet here. He's the player that's called for playing at the football and forcing it out. So 2 in a row as Brisbane again through Shane Webke take it inside the 20.
They've been put in this situation 3 times in the game thus far. They're inside the 20 again. Here's G getting the head down and out of the road. It might be a popular target. They go to the blind. Lee, Tallis heading for the corner. Big Goulet is working hard in defence, particularly on the blind side. Darren Smith finding Alan Langer. Langer away to Walters. Walters had a decoy offered by Thorne. He's put down 11 away from Sydney City's line. Playing it back again for Langer. Langer goes off to the right now. G is the running player. Now Darren Smith, they'll score. Smith's over. They packed up the blind side. They outnumbered Sydney City. And Sydney City have failed to weather the third attacking raid launched inside the 20.
I don't think Sydney City expected Andrew G to be a first receiver. As we freeze it there, this is the big front row who doesn't pass a lot in a game catching the football. That's the second inside man. A real overlap out wide. They've got 3 on 2 as play continues. It was just a matter of Andrew G to get away a good pass. Darren Smith on the outside of Matt Singh. He was always going to be tough to stop from that distance. In fact, no problems rushing through from 3 or 4 metres out. Good work from the big fella. He read it nicely and put the ball onto the chest of Darren Smith. Lockyer now. I've always felt that his first kick very, very important to what kind of afternoon he's going to have with the boot.
69% for the year. Played for his country and will again, no doubt, through October. Here he is from 25 out. The kick is just to the left. So there's no addition to 4 points. Brisbane over Sydney City by 4 points to 0. 4 points is very valuable with this breeze against you. Cleary starting for Sydney City. And Brisbane coming off their own line through Webke, and there doesn't look to be too much wrong with the ankle, with the purpose and the quality in his work at the moment. Lee then giving it across, a nice wide ball for Walters, and they've found something on the left of the ground. Riddoff is showing pace down the left, and then the ball came off a Brisbane hand and went forward. It'll be a loose head and feed to Sydney City, 45 metres away from their own line, but they showed there that they're prepared to pass it wide early, as they always have been, I might add.
Well, that's the Broncos of old, isn't it? And they're really finding the Roosters out at the moment. And some scrambling defence there. Renoff and Elsgood, that was a good tussle. Speed men out there wide. Elsgood had a dickens of a time getting to him.
So Cleary coming in to take the pass that normally would be for Brad Fittler at 5/8. Fittler just standing back and directing a bit of traffic around the ground at the moment, as it's taken ahead by his lock forward Gaffey, about 45 away from the Brisbane line. That's young Logan. Here's Fittler scampering away, looking for Lamb. Lamb beat Tallis, all ends up and then goes inside the 40. Still going, Adrian, and now Barnett puts it down. Brisbane's back on the attack. Webke's got the ball. Webke to play it then. 5 metres his own side of halfway, and again they go down the blind, and the number 9's having a good game for Brisbane. Philip Lee. He's really put some spark in the dummy half running. Now a lofted pass, a shocker. It's down for Andrew G, who laid the first try on for Brisbane. He will play it a couple of metres into Sydney City's area. It is with Alan Langer. Langer away, Walters in, and he goes into a gap. It's Lockyer, I beg your pardon. Down the left of the ground, the kick ahead. There's a chance on. The bounce is brilliant, and in they go to score Brisbane with Michael De Vere, the winger, reading the play, but Darren Lockyer showing all the class we know he's got. A perfect kick, and Michael De Vere scores the try.
Well, you had to hold your breath because I wasn't sure whether the option was the right one from Darren Lockyer, but great execution once again. If he frees it there, just have a look at this player, Jack Elsgood. He's not even looking at this man. All he is concerned about is Steve Renouf, and as play continues, Lockyer just slides straight in the gap left by Elsgood. Awful defence from the winger. I thought he might have passed here. I think he should have passed, although a bit crazy to say once you see that bounce and De Vere putting the ball down straight behind the posts.
Well, the big matches really find out players, and Jack Elsgood, that would be the worst piece of defence he's ever come up with in his life under pressure. And Lockyer, well, there's nothing he can't do, let me tell you. What about the kick? I mean, it was going to end up bounce over there, over the dead ball line, go out in the full, anything but sit up nicely for a try for De Vere.
Well, a very fortuitous bounce for the Broncos there. Experience, well, you can't buy that sort of stuff. Of course, we remember just a week ago he came up with almost an identical try. Lockyer kicking back in towards the centre of the field. Great start for the Broncos, but expect the Roosters to come back.
So, one 21-year-old scoring the try and the other converting the try, and Brisbane lead by 10 points to 0. Let's take another look at the try. Different angle, Steve Roach.
Well, how many times do you see it? Lockyer coming in, playing second 5'8" from the fullback position. He kicks in, and I thought a couple of the Sydney City players gave up the chase there. They thought it was going to go over the dead ball line. Perfect bounce for De Vere, and what a start for the young fellow. They're behind the line.
Andrew Walker trying to contain himself, sitting there on the benches. A shock inclusion in the Phil Gould 17. Cleary starts what has been a magical start for Brisbane, a miserable start for Sydney City. Saylor playing it just outside his own 10-metre line. Now for Tallis, and they're getting very good go forward from Tallis and Webke. Thorne now. It's an impressive bunch of forwards, isn't it? They boast a lot of internationals, 10 of them in all.
Speaking of forwards, Ray, Brian Fletcher into the action now. David Barnhill back to the bench. As Darren Lockyer gets a kick away, juggled by Junee. Not a bad chase from the Brisbane side. Darren Smith.
Oh, he's lost it! Sailors off for the corner. He'll score. They're in for their third try. Oh, heavens above! Sydney City are bumbling their way through this qualifying final. He wants a replay, but I think you'll find the mistake is firmly that of Darren Junees, and Wendell Saylor appears to have scored a legitimate third try for the Broncos.
Well, the doubt in Stephen Clark's mind is whether the ball was stripped in the tackle. Darren Junee heading across field. It's knocked out. That's fair enough. Just attempting the tackle. That is 100% a try. Darren Smith, a great chase from him and a superb execution in forcing the mistake.
I suppose it's fair enough if the strip went backwards. If he stripped it and he actually knocked it forward, then I think they'd probably have to recall it.
Well, it appeared to go backwards. The only thing that worries me, when he does actually knock it out of Junee's hands, it came down and hit him on the knee. Whether it was propelled forward, it's not, though, according to the video referee. He's happy, and it is a try to Brisbane. That is their third try, and we've only had 13 minutes. Lockyer has already had one kick from out here. One of the big name players that has emanated from Roma. Two matches for Queensland in 77, 4 Super League tests also in 97 I should say, for Darren Lockyer. So with the failure of the kick, the scoreboard shows us Brisbane comfortable, 14 points to 0 and 3 tries on the board after 14 minutes. Cleary has had plenty of practice at this, much to the dismay of the Sydney City supporters right across Australia, and many of them are here. They're pretty hard to find at the moment. They've had nothing to cheer about. Thorne.
Of course, Sydney City trailed Newcastle 15-0 not so long ago. After that, Phil Gould said it was the greatest performance from a team he'd been associated with. I've got a feeling if the Roosters can get out of this one, he might change that assessment.
So Walters will go to the other two commentators for their opinions of the game in just a moment. I guess it's almost predictable what Steve Roach and Wally Lewis might say, but we'll go to them, give them a chance to comment on the game in just a second. At the end of this six, preferably. As Langer gets a kick in under pressure, marked on the full by Darren Juney. He comes back to be tackled 42 metres out from his own line. And there's a Bronco down injured in back play as a result of the tackle. And now Barnett offers himself for Tallis, and Tallis obligingly drives. Fletcher bringing it away to the halfway line. Can he do something to inspire them? He's been very good this season, Fletcher. Now Fittler across for Lamb, and then for Goulet. Goulet to the 40-metre line. Did better than that. 67% of time in possession has been with Brisbane.
The player down was Andrew Jure. He's just getting back in the defensive line now on the last tackle.
Fittler keen to start a resurgence. Got rid of Darren Smith, throws a pass away. Hello, here's the bounce of the ball favouring Brisbane again. But it's gone over the sideline this time off the boot of Tony Carroll. And so a scrum will go down, and it'll be a loose head and feed to Sydney City, if I've read it correctly. Yes, it comes off the boot of Carroll. Steve Roach, your views on the game at this point?
Yeah, I'll put it quite simple. If you are to beat the Brisbane Broncos, you have to complete everything and have at least 60% of the ball. You can't keep turning the football over straight away to them. They just had to make extra tackles, the Roosters, so far.
Fittler given an awful pass. Singh tries to improve it. Wally Lewis.
Well, I think if you're going to win football games, you've got to have the football, and you've got to have it in the right territory of the field. This is one of the rare times we've seen Sydney City at this end of the track. We'll see a couple of their experienced players, such as Fittler and Lamb, start to take over. I don't think they're ready to jump off the bridge yet.
Here's Goulet down the blind. Been asked to work hard in defence, Goulet. Here's a penalty. This will help them. They need a very good passage of play, Sydney City. They've got to get some points on the board, start to get some confidence back. There have been some miracle comebacks in the 1998 NRL competition, but you'd rather be leading by 14 than trailing.
Yeah, I must admit, I'd have taken the kick for goal there. 14-0, get them back to 12. Clear is a tremendous kicker, and Barnhill, they may prove me wrong, but only 2 points there would have been fairly valuable.
So they set it up this time with Fletcher working down the centre and getting a pass away. They're over. They're over to score their first try, Sydney City, and it's Matt Singh who's got the try.
Oh, no, you had to go for the try there, Snorp.
Yeah, well, it was great work. I think Brian Fletcher is the man who offloads. Marvellous work by the big man. He's just come off the bench not too long ago, stepped inside Webke, went straight through the front rows, actually, and that's a tremendous offload there. He had the attention of two other players. He's basically taken 4 Broncos out of the defensive line here and still managed to get away a pass to Matt Singh, who also did well to be there from his centre position.
Well, that will lift them, no doubt about it. They've had no football, and as Wally said, they've been at the wrong end of the field. He's a real find, Brian Fletcher. Playing park football a couple of years ago, Phil Gould found him, and look what he's doing now, setting up tries in semi-finals. That was almost like Darren Britt and Rod Silver.
And to me, a couple of tries, Rabs really do seem to have been scored because people panic when they're close to the try line, sprinting out of line.
Cleary, a formality for him. So the first points are on the board for Sydney City. Cleary is 1 away from Michael Cronin's record now. And Sydney City are 8 behind Brisbane, Steve Roach.
Yeah, that's no fluke. This kid's been doing it off the bench all season. Got good feet, he steps around, offloads. It's a beautiful offload, isn't it? I'm sure he would have been in Brisbane's man to watch too, along with Fittler.
So that is just what the doctor ordered for Sydney City. I'd no sooner said it, and then Peter offered his professional advice, which was right. But as is so often the case, it turned out to be wrong. Barnhill. He will play the ball inside the 20.
I think he's bagging a bit.
I'm not sure if he's or not. I think it's a sugar-coated bagging. I think it's fair to say, Paul, looking at the attack from the Sydney City side, that there's another mistake going against the Roosters. But it's almost like Brad Fittler and Adrian Lamb have swapped roles in the last couple of weeks. We see Brad Fittler more at first receiver than Adrian Lamb these days. They almost sort of play half 5'8" the other way around now.
Well, yeah, I'll mention that in a minute, Pete. Well, there's consistency in the play of the ball. That was kneed out by a Bronco. But we've seen 2 penalties go their way for infringements in the play of the ball, but not to the Roosters. Walters tries to get through. Yeah, well, neither of those players have run yet. That's what we're waiting for, Pete, in the Roosters side.
To the right of the ground, the Broncos mounting another raid. Sivanasiva is on. The problem with Webke apparently is a hip problem rather than an ankle problem. Sailor, one of the 3 try scorers. Langer now came across from Andrew G. He's playing a game that I've never seen from him before. Langer for Thorn. It's got a touch of class about it, what Andrew G's doing today. Last tackle, they go to the blind side again. There's been success there before, but this time Bonetti has it for Sydney City.
Kevin Wallace threw the dummy, nearly slid through, got the pass back on the inside, but the young hooker was there to intercept. Nice offload, it was the last tackle, he had to throw it, so now Sydney City get out of their own danger area. A real wrestling match going on. Rendell Sailor up against Barnett.
Sailor bouncing him around like a rag doll. Sydney City appealing to the referee for a penalty. Fittler clears. Got a question mark on the chasers that are coming down into your screen in a moment, particularly Elsegood, who went in for a snatching tackle, missed it. I thought he might have been in front of the kicker. This is De Vere, another of the try scorers. The wingers have got 1 each. Barnhill goes off at the 22nd minute. Smith 4-1 the line breaks in favour of Brisbane. That doesn't surprise anybody. Sivanasiva 32 metres out from his own line. G. Oh goodness, he's having a game, isn't he, Paul? Andrew G.
Oh, he's going well. He can offload. He normally just likes to hit the ball up, but there's plenty of other forwards now in this Brisbane side who can run the ball, like Thorn and Webke. And he's really developing the other part of his game.
Lovely kick by Langer.
No, it was a good result, Ray. I don't know if it was a lovely kick. Everybody thought it was going out on the full. It did go off the side of the boot. But even when he makes a mistake, it ends up being a pretty good result.
Paul, I think one of the real points that's sticking out about G's game at the moment, not only with his offloads, but it's been the surprise to his defending players that he's running towards that's causing a little bit of concern. They usually just have one bloke run straight towards him.
Now Fittler starts to open up. Singh with a good run. Generated by Fittler. 42 metres away from the Broncos line. Fittler again. Now he's getting busy. He knows he's got to. 14 points to 6 down in a sudden death semi-final. Now Fletcher. And, Cleary. It's not the first time he's put it down today either. A couple of these Sydney City players are having a terrible problem with their hands.
That was in the middle of a very promising move from the Roosters as well. They picked up a lot of ground. No defence coming up from the Broncos. And that mistake, it's taken away all the wind out of the sails.
That tackle was around the shoulders, according to Clark, on Sivanasiva. Langer. Just inside the Sydney City 40-metre line. Now G again. Coming up on the first distributor play. Renouf gets a floating pass in, and the man that saves more tries than anybody else. Matty Singh was there to pull it down. Andrew G is running from first receiver and offloading, and he's causing so much trouble.
And Andrew Walker coming to the sideline now as Ricketson tackled 13 metres out. Beautiful work from the Broncos. What about the catch and pass? Whoa!
Oh, what a good tackle that was.
Carroll.
Logan picked up by Carroll. Now Goulet. Johnny Pleth is on. Kevin Campion is on. That's the tackle on Logan. Good stuff from Carroll. Walker's on, Juni's off, and Fittler puts up a mountainous bomb. Lockyer brings it back. Sing the tackle up. De Vere. An appeal from the crowd for a high tackle from Ricketson. Denied. Tallis. 37 metres away from Sydney City's line. They can't afford to let them in again before half-time. Plath, Smith, Langer, running at them, then away, Campion on, Lockyer in, shows it, back on the inside, Elsgood was in the right place. He's having awful problems, Elsgood, down the left of the ground though. 20-metre line, Walker. They lost him in round 18 with a broken leg. One of their star players. He's just so vital to them. He's almost like Lockyer is to Brisbane. Andrew Walker to Sydney City. Barnett running from dummy half and hopefully not finding Wendell Saylor. Because every time he does, Saylor just unceremoniously bounces him around all over the ground. Lockyer is watching, hoping it'll go. It does. 14-6. And they rattled on 3 tries in the opening 15 minutes. A lot of people thought this really was the grand final today.
But as we've seen before, Ray, especially during this final series, you can feel the Roosters starting to warm to the task. If they can just get those silly mistakes out, ball going astray at the most inopportune time. Anyway, from being out of this one. The Broncos' defence, some sting's gone out of that. They're just not coming up like they were early in the game as Campion picks up a nice 8 or 10 metres.
Walters dropping what was a forward pass. Handling errors, 6-5 Sydney City on the worst end of that. They've been on the worst end of venues through the playoffs as well. They had to play Melbourne away. And then they went again, did they not, the next weekend? And now they're here, of course, playing Brisbane in Brisbane. So they've had no luck in the draw. But then again, they finished in the position they did. Nobody else did. Fletcher to play it now on the halfway, and Nat Wood is on. He's often added some spark for Sydney City. Lamb and Fittler getting busy. Goulet, Brisbane outmatching them in defence at the moment. Logan. They're 33 metres away. Right in the middle of the major sponsors sign. Sports tab. Fittler's kick. He's not happy with it. And it's been battered down forward by Sydney City. Lockyer taken by Goulet.
Well, that was the worst set of 6 I've seen in a long time by the Roosters. They just went nowhere, did nothing. Now a penalty against them inside the 10. First penalty for that today. And Langer takes a quick tap.
And Langer 41 metres away from the Sydney City line. Coming in to take the play is Sivanasiva. Langer, of course, battling for the number 7 job against the Kiwis in the reverse test. His battle with Andrew Johns is also battling for the captaincy job, I'd imagine. Now an inside ball. Lockyer gets it away. Smith in for try 22. Darren Smith puts it over the line. The try that Sydney City could not allow before half-time has become a reality.
Blinding acceleration from Darren Lockyer once again. He's just a marvellous young player. You see here just the change in angle. He frees it. He's gone and come back. He's committed these 2 players, Alan Langer and Brian Fletcher, coming across on the inside as play continues, is the man who misses the tackle on Darren Lockyer. It goes low, straight through, and on the outside once again, plenty of support, this time in the form. Is it Darren Smith who got the try or Steve Renoff? They both look alike to me with the headgear on. But Lockyer just marvellous at injecting himself at the right time. And that's Darren Smith.
Well, as Paul Borton just mentioned a few moments ago, it was Sydney City's worst set of 6 probably for the whole game. And when you play that sort of football against the Broncos, you're going to get penalised and penalised bad. Just 4 tackles later. Brisbane put the ball down for a 4-pointer, possibly a 6, and it really was an opportunity where I thought the Sydney City Roosters boys had a golden chance to really put points on the board. Fittler's left foot kick, really the problem point.
There's a talent lock here, isn't he? Hasn't he just burst onto the scene?
I still can't believe the match that he had in that test match in New Zealand. It was just uncustomary for a youngster whose coach had compared him to Brett Kenny. It just goes to show we can all have a bad one, and he had a shocker that night.
Well, what I'd rather remember, Ray, was when he came back from that, he was man of the match a week later in his next performance, and that's the sign of the quality of the player.
He's offline here, Peter, and we have to go to a break. It is 18 points to 6, Brisbane over Sydney City. Half an hour of the game is gone. It's a bleak afternoon for the Sydney side. Cleary taking us into the final 10 minutes. Sailor. Plath. We haven't heard from the big fellow on the sidelines for a while. An opinion?
Oh, how good are they playing? They ask you the question 3 times in every set of 6 tackles that they've got the football. Brisbane Broncos making far too many yards up the middle, as shown there by Campion. Sydney City really slow to come off their line at the moment. They're very tired.
Brisbane have been a little bit, as Webke coming back, have been a bit vulnerable coming off their own line against certain teams, but they're not today. They're getting a great platform from their forwards. Elsgood got away from De Vere. He missed the tackle because he was over enthusiastic. He went up on him too quick. Cleary. He's had an unhappy first half, but so has the dummy half, Elsgood. Barnett across from the left wing to take a play out for the tiring forwards. Wood, Barnhill. Just inside the 40. Wood again. Lamb. 14 is Riggin. Almost to the halfway. 5 gone. Fittler, where is he? Here he is. Alternate kicker is Walker. Not a bad alternate kicker either. One of the best in the game. But this man, if we were handing out the McDonald's man of the match, would probably get it at this point in time. Lockyer, the fullback for Brisbane. De Vere, 32 metres out from the Brisbane line. Thorne. We'll take you back to the Commonwealth Games, of course, for more of the action highlighted today. Track and field, high jump, long jump finals, hockey semi-finals, gymnastics, cycling, cricket final against South Africa. That's live at 6:30 tonight. Back to Kuala Lumpur, and a penalty goes to Brisbane.
Penalty's now 5-3, and that was late in the tackle count. Stephen Clark claiming that the Sydney City Rooster players hang on too long.
It's a time of the game too. If Brisbane can't score in this set of 6, Ray, they may opt for the 1-pointer to put them further than the 2 converted tries away.
Wally Lewis joining us in commentary today, as he is right through the final series. Walters choosing to go to Thorne. Thorne got it back for him. Smith's working with Sailor. And the big fellow who's put the ball over the line once today will play at 15 out from the same line again. Now through for G and then for Carroll. Carroll's tackled on the 10. It's vital here. Absolutely vital. They can't let them through. They knock on. Brisbane have knocked on. And Clark will put a scrum down. The feed and loose head will go to Sydney.
And it's always a sign how a team is going when there's loose ball around. You just watch here. This ball hits the deck. And look who gets to it first. There's plenty of Roosters around, but no one's keen to get there. And the Broncos comes from 5 metres away to dive on it, Webke.
They had to weather that storm then, Peter. Otherwise, that was just about ball game time.
Yeah, 12 points down. I think if they go in at half-time, again, Phil Gould will say to them, look, well, you can't play any worse than that. We're still in the contest, but we know that we've outscored teams week in, week out in recent times. Brisbane are going to be a tougher proposition, but maintain faith in yourselves. Any more than 12, I don't know whether they could maintain that. Here's a penalty will help them. And, of course, if they can put points on before the break, it will give them an enormous boost, something to work on in the second 40.
Just while we have this break in play, my thanks to George and Leela Vorton for afternoon tea supplied today through their son. Beautiful scones, George, well cooked. In fact, they might be overcooked, I think. Played by Barnhill to the blind side. Goulet switching it in for Barnett. Now, Gaffey. Tallis thought about something then. Thought about it. It was like a kid in a candy shop with the door left open, and then he put him down. Now Fletcher. Lamb. Hasn't been able to get through. Neither is the big fella, Fittler. They've really marked them up. The kick from Fittler into a fairly deep in goal, but Lockyer just put a shadow over it. A Devere it was.
That's a poor kick there. It's a big in goal area. It's a large target compared to plenty of other grounds. So Ray, what you're saying was Gordon actually went up and closed the door instead of walking through.
That's
help himself.
That's right. Big jars of lollies. Wally Lewis used to feed off them. Now, Smith. G. Plath. Wally, Andrew G. I know I've spoken about him a fair bit, but he's playing just a different game.
Well, I've seen him play one of these games before.
Chance here, Wall. No, snuffed out. Go on.
It was snuffed out very well. But he's got ball handling skills. I mean, each one of the players in every club certainly practice the ball handling skills. Evident as we see Smith turn a ball back inside to Saylor. He's certainly got the opportunity. It's just when he wants to do it. The coach is obviously giving him permission this afternoon, and it's worked the very best way.
Langer away from the 30-metre line. Lockyer coming in, and it has been lost forward. That'll be a turnover on the last.
It was, but I saw that really as a nothing play there. Elf probably thought he had an opportunity to have half a break. It was one of his big forwards that was running off him. I really do think that they've ignored the 1-point opportunity.
Walker.
Roosters have done 6 more sets of tackles than their opponents. I think we should point out, as we come up to the 37-minute mark, 25 tackles from Luke Ricketson in the second row. You can come up with a 25 count in 80 minutes.
Half break made by Fletcher again. I don't think Phil Gould will be leaving him on the bench for the start of the... Oh! Big tackle again by Tallis. No problem. Bonetti. Lamb. Back to the forwards and... looking for a runner, but Riggin was too slow. Fittler to the 20. And then Singh bouncing off Smith. And Singh, who scored the lone try, puts out a speculator, but it goes over the sideline. That'll be a turnover. Webke. 18 points to 6.
I know what you're saying about the field goal, Wally, but I can't remember the Broncos ever looking for that option when they led by 6 or 12. Every other side does, but you just get the impression the Broncos, even in the 39th minute, 59 seconds gone, they're still looking to get the 4 points.
I just think it's a big slap in the face. The opposition know that they've got to score more than 2 converted tries.
Lockyer's kick has got Renouf chasing. Elsgood's got work to do. They put the ring around him, and Elsgood will be told to leave the tackle alone, and it'll be a line dropout.
Well, we've got a minute and a half left. If they are going to take 1 point, they will never get a better opportunity. This is again pinpoint accuracy from Darren Lockyer into the in-goal area. Jack Elsgood, he had a chance of passing the football if Walker had got in a better position. He really didn't help him, Andrew Walker. And he takes exception to the tackle of Steve Renouf.
Stay behind the line.
A frustrating first half for Elsgood starting to show out there.
Has not had the best of halves. Jack Elsgood, he can play a lot better than that. And they've just got to hang on here, the Roosters, if they're any chance at all.
Webke coming back at 100 miles an hour. Put away, 25 metres out. Will they take that option? The field goal option. G.
Well, even though Langer's won a State of Origin for his state with the drop goal, I think Lockyer would be the man they would look for if they are tempted.
Well, he's the one that's lurking, but they're going to one of the extremes of the ground. Tallis, 3 metres from the line, and then a little pirouette from the dummy half, and Smith plays it close to the line. The pass from dummy half has been knocked on, and so we will almost certainly go to the break with the score at 18-6. Here's the knock on there. John Plath. And the ball loose. Clark saying it was propelled forward by Brisbane.
Knocked on by Alan Langer and Sterlinger.
Let's just have a look. He reels at Alan Langer. Knocks on here, stealing the ball, and he's got that one exactly right. It was 1-on-1, so Alf had every opportunity to take the ball off Richie Barnett.
Players are going to the siren sound. I certainly didn't hear one, and Clark is saying, hey, where are you going? Excuse me.
Oh, he's in complete control. The PA said it's half time, so the players said, fair enough.
Is that it, Snow?
Oh, what's going on?
Well, they're going now. So Stephen Clark here can stay there. The others are going for afternoon tea. It is half time with the scoreboard. I can't believe it. But the scoreboard, Brisbane 18, Sydney City 6. Brisbane have scored 4 tries to 1 and scored 3 of those tries in the first 15 minutes. They are hammering Sydney City. This requires a massive comeback. I wonder, can they do it? 18-6 down. 2 converted tries running into the breeze, coming from the northern end and behind Brisbane in the second half. Saylor running off Langer. 25 metres out from their own line on the first play. That's not too bad. Carroll, the second, playing lock today, wearing number 2. De Vere in 14, playing on the wing. Rebke. Looking through the Sydney City side to see if Fletcher was in the run-on side for the second half. I don't think he is. He was nearly the best for them. Luckiest kick is to... No, it's not. Oh, gee. He had his foot on the line. Well, of course, that means that it's out. It's a good trick, that, if you can do it on purpose.
Gee, that's great work, isn't it, from Darren Jimmy? Very quick thinking.
A lot of people probably wondering what the hell's going on there, but if you've got your foot on the line, whether it's the touch line or the dead ball line, and you've got your hands on the ball, it's considered to be out. So, this is Gaffey bringing it back as they struggle their way towards half-time, Sydney City. Lamb. Ricketson. He's lost it. And it's a penalty. It's got him for raking it out, and he's put 2 fingers up at Tallis to say a 2-man tackle.
Yeah, Kevin Waller's the man responsible here, the number 6. I should also point out the other end of the field, the ball's got to be in motion to put your hand on it to constitute it being out.
Logan. Oh, there's Tallis again. Bet your bottom dollar he's around when the big men are coming. And as Paul said, there's quality in Tallis's tackles. He mightn't have made 28, but he's made 13 and they've been boomers. Barnhill. Crunch. Webke hits him. And he's still down. Gaffey. They've got to be the team to score next, haven't they, Pete?
No doubt about that, Ray. Good chance here with Adrian Lamb finding Fittler, although the pass was a bad one. Behind him. It's gone back, but it is the last tackle.
They're having an awful day. Lamb's kick. There's the bat down. He's got it on the full and put it over the line. It is Nat Wood who's claiming a try. It's got some hope of being a try too.
Well, there's not too much joy being shown by the Roosters. Maybe they feel it isn't a try. Their heads are down.
Well, there's a couple of things the ref are calling for to see whether the ball was knocked forward, whether the chasers are onside, whether Darren Lockyer was taken out. There's no doubt about the chasers being onside. They're a good 2 or 3 metres behind the kicker. I think Darren Lockyer had a fine take at the ball. I don't think he was taken out at all. The problem,
Whose hands did it come off?
I think it's come off a Sydney City hand. I think it was Richie Barnett.
That would be the most probable. Let's watch it here. This is the shot we want. No doubt about it. It's come off the hands of Barnett, gone forward, so it cannot be a try.
And he'll be offside too, won't he? Well.
I wouldn't argue about that.
Anyway, the most important thing is it's no try, and the Broncos will have the football.
No doubt about it, they are Richie Barnett's hands. He's got a wrist strap on his right hand, his right wrist, and that has really given him up. I'm surprised the video ref has taken so long.
Yeah, he is onside, Matt Wood, no problem there, but it has gone forward.
Yeah, no try. I'm glad he got it right, but blow if I know how it took him so long. He must have seen something we didn't see.
And despite the fact that the white light said it was a scrum, it was the last tackle, so it is a handover.
Now, let me get down to Steve Roach because half-time is about 5 minutes behind us now. Yes, big fella.
Yeah, Phil Gould was very disappointed with the team's performance. He said, I hope you've got it out of your system. You can play a lot better than that. He said, let's number up on Brisbane on the blind side. They keep coming to that short side. Silly penalties in the play the ball are costing us. Keep the ball away from the Brisbane Broncos and complete our sets. He said we've scored 12 points in games a lot this year, so there's no worries with the score if we're all on deck. Joining me on the sideline, Michael Hancock, the Brisbane winger who's injured at the moment. Michael, what was said at half-time?
Well, Wayne didn't have too much to say. He was pretty happy. The main thing is just don't get complacent. What we've got to do is just keep going forward. On the back of that, we need a good kick. We're playing with the wind this time, so if the force can go forward, I think Elf and Kev will come into their play. And he just wants them to just keep going forward. Don't cut out those silly little mistakes we were trying to make just before half-time. And just don't get complacent out there and just do the job.
Yeah, I think this is the best game that I've seen Gordon Tallis play this season, and Webke really laying that platform for you blokes.
Yeah, it was pretty noticeable when we played Parramatta that we didn't have our forwards going forward, and Alf and Kevy couldn't get in the game. Against Melbourne, Kevy, our forwards went forward. Kevy got man of the match, played extremely well. Today again, the forwards are going forward, and Kevy, Smitty out wide. They're just running havoc.
And Michael, if you win this one, will you be back for the grand final next week?
Yeah, we'll be back. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed the boys get across the line today.
Yeah, thanks very much. Good luck. Back to you, Ray.
Steve Roach on the sideline with Michael Hancock. Thank you, Michael, for that. As Sydney City take the ball to the halfway and then put it on the boot of Fittler. It's a big kick by Fittler. He did this to Melbourne in the second half, I remember. Sailor.
I just be keeping an eye on Brad Fittler because I feel he's crook out there. He came out of a tackle 5 minutes ago reeling. He stayed down for a minute. And I think those ribs that we heard a couple of weeks ago are still playing up, no doubt about it.
40-metre line. Thorne played it. Langer. Smith. Tallis. That's good work. He should never have got that ball away, but he did. There was enough there to stop a train, but they couldn't stop Tallis. Walters neatly away. Lockyer. Ball went forward. De Vere is with it. Turnover at the 40-metre line, and just as well it was because the pass from Lockyer went forward.
Both sides have shown in this game that they like to run the football in the last tackle. So far, no great success or joy at the end of it. You've still got to make sure that you've got that covered and realise that it is an option that the opposition might take as the Sydney City side make it into the half of Brisbane.
Yeah, I disagree with it, Pete. I think the Broncos know that Sydney City are capable of scoring tries, but if they're 90 metres, they're going to find it a little bit tougher than if they're just 40 or 50 metres away.
Gaffey. Wood. Lamb. Ricketson. Just trying to think that Bonetti has either been taken away from the game by his coach or he's injured. Matt Wood's been there for a long time now. A kick by Fittler, and he might have had a foot in the in goal, I'm not sure. But Lockyer is allowed to run. De Vere. Oh, big gap down the blind. He just kangaroo hopped out of a tackle. He's got Juni coming at him. Juni puts him away. Long run by Michael De Vere. Penalty to Brisbane and the sin bin. Darren Juni has left his team now with 12.
And what it's also left his team, Rabs, a classic cover defender. Juni had that very well covered. I tell you what, when he got in the clear, I thought it was home and hosed. Magnificent tackle. Juni certainly sized up the occasion, handled it very well.
12 metres from the line. Leading by 12. And Walters and Langer love it down this end of the ground, this close to the line. Particularly the number 7. He's with it now. Gets the pass away. They're over the line. And it's Darren Lockyer's try. Lockyer over to score for Brisbane. And poor old Darren Juni, his head will go down. He's in the sin bin. His team down to 12. And off the next set of 6 tackles, Brisbane are over to score.
And they've gone the length of the field to do it in 6 tackles, basically. Tremendous run from Michael De Vere out of dummy half after Lockyer had defused another Brad Fittler bomb. It's a line ball decision. The referee has got Darren Juni for basically a professional foul. He did hold the ball. And we saw a try come from this in a different fashion. The inside pass to Lockyer, who found Darren Smith in the first half. This time, Lockyer was able to just run the reverse angle, cover, not coming across in time in the shape of Brad Fittler. Too close to the line to stop. Simple try, but they just make them look so easy, Brisbane. It's probably harder to execute than what it actually looks.
It's just those little men, isn't it? Lockyer inside from Langer, and saw Brad Fittler coming across. He must be injured. He couldn't commit himself to that tackle. He was a grabbing, lunging type of tackle rather than using his body, so he's not fit.
It was just the performance the Brisbane crowd needed to see. There's been great concern over the drop-off in crowds in Brisbane. This will go a long way to rectifying it, I would hope, as Lockyer misses another conversion attempt. He's not happy with his kicking. He can be happy with his game, though. 22-6, though, the Broncos leading the Roosters. Restart time. Off the boot of Cleary. Sailor coming back. Fast. Benetti back on now for Sydney City, so there was nothing wrong with him. Lee. G. Barnhill, Walker. 2 of the players that are back on the bench. 40-metre line, Brisbane's end. Tomorrow we do it all again. Parramatta and Canterbury tomorrow. And the winner of that almost certainly will be playing Brisbane in their 4th grand final. That is Campion. Down the eastern side of the ground. The kick off the boot of Langer. I don't know whether Smith's onside or Renouf, is it? It's been fielded anyway and taken back to the 20-metre line for the restart by Benetti. Singh. Tallis has been tireless in defence today. Cleary.
Yeah, Tallis has been great. So too Thorne and G. But I agree with Paul. I don't think there's much doubt that Brad Fittler's not 100%. And if that is the case, it means that Adrian Lamb has got to recognise that and now get in and take on more responsibility. He's got to be the catalyst, the spark to try and get something going in this second half to maybe pull off the impossible.
Goulet, halfway line. Lamb finding Fittler, running like a second rower out there. Wide, straight, second man. Lamb. Lockyer, everything he touches, apart from some of his kicks today, they've been just so confident, so cool. De Vere, 20-metre line. Campion. Oh, gee, I tell you what, they will serve for wingers, aren't they, Brisbane? When you think that Hancock is out with a broken finger and Michael De Vere's having a splendid game, not that he gets many opportunities. This is Webke.
I know they've got a lot of depth, Ray, but one person they will miss is attack again. Going on to Wendell Saylor. Tackle on the halfway line. Darren Smith's exit to Canterbury next year, it's going to be a difficult one to cover. He's had a marvellous season. Got across the line on plenty of occasions, and defensively he's been superb.
Lockyer drilling it down the middle of the ground. And again, he had exactly the right weight on it. Making Barnett field it and then run it away. But Saylor continues to win that battle. Jaffe is headed off towards the blind side, which nearly proved dangerous. Logan. Well, they've got to start doing that, haven't they? 15 is Fletcher. There's not much joy out there, Steve, at the moment for them.
They're hungry in defence too, although they're ahead easily on the scoreboard, 22 points to 6. It's the hunger in defence that's really pushing this Sydney side back.
Well, they're struggling to make ground with the football, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the numbers in the tackle that's really worrying the Roosters at the moment.
Fittler. The big boot. Lockyer lets it bounce. And says to Michael De Vere, it's your turn. 37 metres away from their own line. Langer putting Darren Smith back in towards the play the ball, hoping that maybe the defence had dispersed. Walters. Great year for him, Kevy Walters. Nobody deserved to have a better year than him. No luck with his family, but by Jove, I tell you what, he's converted all of that bad luck into a brilliant season for Kevin. Sivanasiva. Langer to the 20, the kick, and then it's read by Ricketson. Liam has lost it. Renouf will score. No, he won't, but the winger does. De Vere gets his second try. Well, how many mistakes, voluntary errors have they made to give Brisbane an easy passage to the grand final?
Well, way too many, that's for sure. Just some awful soft tries given away. Langer, the little kick over the top. Offloads it here to Adrian Lamb. He doesn't get it. He was almost hit at the same time by Alan Langer. Steve Renouf probably could have reached out and scored himself, but he made a bird of it by giving it to Michael De Vere. Alfie telling him to go closer to the post. He realised that his goal kick is having a few problems. But I don't think the Brisbane side are going to lose this one because they've missed kicks at goal.
A chance now for Lockyer to improve the success rate.
8 metres in from touch, and this one looks better. It's got the length. It's got a mile of length and height. Darren Lockyer converts 28-6 after 55. The Broncos are smashing the Roosters. 28 points to 6. Brisbane just absolutely carving the Roosters up. We came back at half-time hoping, and that's all we were doing. I'm sure you people at home were doing that as well, that they would come back and make it competitive. It is not over, but they're not even looking competitive, are they? 41 metres away from their own line, the Broncos, with Lee. Wayne Bennett rotating him and John Plath. He's not at the moment, they're both on there. But he looks like he might have found another number 9 who will keep Plath on the benches longer and longer. Here's a chase down the ground. Walker. Smith it was. He tried to nail him. And Walker's come right out 15 metres from his own line. Singh has tried his heart out, the State of Origin player. Juni comes back from the bin. Scored 2 tries while he's been gone. Rigon, Benetti, Goulet. Got to start speculating if they're going to have any hope. Barnhill went back on for Juni. They left the fullback off.
Well, Paul, that would look to be a pretty soft run that occasion from Brad Fittler. I think the coach, Bill Gould's got a tough choice to make here. Do I take him off and try and inspire the rest of the team to lift while he's off the field?
Well, he's out there under suffering. It's a very brave effort by Brad Fittler. You can't deny that from the Roosters skipper.
I think Wayne Bennett's got to make a decision or two as well concerning maybe the likes of Shane Webke. He might be prepared to go with Sivanasiva for the major part of this last 20 minutes. It's Campion.
Oh, Campion, good pass inside for Carroll. Carroll's got a lot of pace. Walker was able to just jolt him for a moment.
A forward pass at the end of it called back. Kevin Walters was under the posts.
We've seen this bloke in the clear before, Carroll. And that pass was definitely forward. Good positional play by the referee, Clark.
On there, Broncos.
Next Sunday, of course, the grand final day. Sydney Football Stadium, President's Cup and first grade grand finals live on the Nine Network around Australia and in New Zealand. Peter Sterling, Paul Vorton, Steve Roach, Andrew Voss, Wally Lewis and Laurie Daly. Live from noon next Sunday. You'll see it live from noon.
And
Ray Warren.
Come on, Ray, give yourself a rap, Poppy.
Bonetti. Oh, come on, David Barnhill. He must be quick. You can't play it like that. Barnett's gone over the sideline. Oh, they're all over them, Brisbane.
He certainly finished over the sideline, didn't he? Straight over the advertising, which is about 6-7 metres away. Kevy Wallace finishing him off. Pat from Kevy at the end just to say, sorry about that.
Oh, he's looking for a new Holden.
Yeah, and by you saying that, so are you.
They're great cars, no doubt about it.
28-6. Sounds like there's more contra around. Wish I could get some of it. Smith.
Something.
Renoff. I've got to say it without nitpicking. He's been vastly overshadowed by Smith. Whether the play hasn't favoured Renoff, I can't answer. But I know the player that's left the indelible mark in my mind as far as centres are concerned today. It's been D. Smith and D. Smith. Walters, forward, Lockyer, towering kick. Oh, Walker's lost it. That's play on for Darren Smith, and play on for Brisbane. Inside ball for Tallis.
No, he held it.
That would the tackler. They look like going in again. Well, Tallis has put the arm up. He said it's a try.
Yeah, Darren
Scored by
Lockyer.
the captain.
Darren Lockyer's got it, Ray.
Lockyer, is it again?
Yeah, the referee, you could hear him say he's got it down on the line. He looked like a front rower taking this one on. Poor Andrew Walker. Ball was going everywhere. He actually got it. Bounced out. He had a little bit of a look at Brad Thorne coming in. And as soon as Alan Langer sniffed an opportunity, he was there. Got it on to Lockyer. One-on-one. I mean that numerically as well as amount of bodies, and then he just rolls over. No doubt he gets the ball down. Soft try once again.
I don't think Andrew Walker's been 100% out there either.
Brilliant exhibition by Darren Lockyer. 20 metres in and 18 out, and he's got it. So that'll keep him happy. He strives for 100 out of 100. Anything less and he's not happy. 34-6, but there's a smile on the kid from Roma's face.
Oh, you can only describe this try as soft as you blokes have already done, but the enthusiasm by the Brisbane Broncos to go on with it in the second half, that's been the impressive thing. I think Parramatta and the Bulldogs will be watching this one going, oh, I hope we don't meet them.
I got news for him, Block.
I'd say, I disagree, Block. I think they'll both want to be the team taking them on next week.
Yeah, well, if they do meet them, it'll be the same result.
Well, there it is. Block has declared himself.
Yeah, no sitting on the fence here, mate.
Good on you, son. There's no picket holes in your you-know-what. I almost said it then.
Well, there's one.
Gee.
He sat on a few fences. They're still not standing, but...
Keep going, Baldy.
That's a good one. I like that.
There's nothing wrong with that, Block.
Thorne on the halfway line. New nickname since I've been away, eh? Lockyer. Ball bouncing down into the end goal for Elsgood. He's had little to do in the second half, Jack. Gus Gould is a mate of ours, and we make no secret of the fact because he's a good bloke. But he would be, I don't know how he'd be feeling, so empty. Just so empty. Because he knows that this team is at least 30 points better than they're showing on the scoreboard.
Well, he must have been very confident coming here, Ray, when you consider the things that they had going for them, the fact that their opposition had injury problems to key men, especially up front. They've been here to ANZ this year, and one of the rare sides to go away with the victory. There was something like a 14-point margin, and they had so much to play for in good form. So, it will be definitely
look out, Peter. Lockyer's away again. 25 out.
He'll be devastated, Gus.
Tell us. Fittler couldn't put him away. Fittler's not well. Paul has made that point. Forden making the point a couple of times, as a matter of fact. De Vere. Do you think you had the football then, did you?
I was about to score a try. Vorten.
It is Langer going back for G, and well, they're just being allowed to do whatever they like. Tallis. Smith. He's looking to equal the record held by Renoff for most number of tries in a season. Plath bouncing around like a cork in the ocean, but they can't put him down. Saylor. Langer. Walters. Now they've got space on the left. Lockyer puts a dummy on. He gets third try of the day. Oh, caps a brilliant game. Darren, look out, boy. I think McDonald's might be sending you $1,000.
Not a great deal of doubt about that, Ray. Beautiful work from the inside men as well, but both Alan Langer and Kevin Wallace, they had to get the ball out wide. We freeze it there. Just have a look at these three Sydney City players. They sprint up. And if they can get the ball to the outside, the Broncos, it had to be a try. And they've done that very easily, really. Kevin Wallace, great ball there. Darren Lockyer could have thrown it. Jack Elsgood, well, no man's land. He had three to contend with. And Lockyer, he gets over very simply when it could have been either of his two outside men. But Luke Ricketson sprinting up, so too Ivan Cleary. They just couldn't stop it. They didn't have the numbers.
Peter, the secret to success there, I think, you've got to give a rap to the Sydney City defenders. I mean, they took away an enormous amount of territory, but Brisbane played smart football. They didn't race up. They gave them time. They gave themselves time and space to be able to shift the ball, being able to shift it backwards almost 30 metres before it went into the hands of Lockyer. Boy, isn't he having a whale of a game this afternoon.
It was always on the cards, and he's produced it today. Gets another 2 points alongside his name. 40 points to 6. A smash up. Webke trying to do just that. My goodness, he's a good player, this fellow Webke. He is starting to remind me of the improvement made. Oh, intercepted by Sydney City.
Yeah, Fittler.
It is Brad Fittler, and he puts it over in the corner.
We've been giving Gigi raps all day about his skills with the football. Boy, decided to come up with one of those trademark passes that we've been giving him all the raps for in the first half, Sterlo. It didn't work this time.
Well, it wasn't a bad pass. It got Freddie on the chest. And Fittler, well, he was standing up in the back line, and he just took his time getting there. And I suppose most importantly about this, I think I'm right in saying it gives Ivan Cleary an opportunity to break the record of Michael Cronin with this conversion attempt. I don't think that mars Andrew G's game too much today. He's been tremendous. He, Webke and Lockyer, along with Darren Smith, been marvellous.
The gap for Fittler was made even more presentable by the fact that Brisbane were making the changes that happened. I think they were getting Ben Walker into the game. I'm assured that's the case. And apparently it's aided Brad Fittler's try. Cleary, 20 out from the sideline, and I like it, and Michael Cronin's record is gone. Most number of points in a season have now been scored by Ivan Cleary, converting the Brad Fittler try. Stephen Roach.
Now, what do you say about it? Consolation. Up the short side again, Brisbane have been going there all day, and Fittler reads it well. No fullback at home, as you mentioned. Lockyer had just left the field, Walker going on. It's an easy one to Fittler. Here's the record.
And of course, as the record of Cronin goes, you're reminded of just how great he was. That ball has been knocked down, knocked on in goal. I don't know why
Gee,
he
it was
tried to
strange.
take it.
Well, if he had let the ball go, of course it was a penalty to the Sydney City Roosters at halfway. Strange choice.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Wal. Anyway, Sivanasiva comes charging back, and he takes a pretty heavy hit. Gee. Just to finish that off, Michael Cronin, one of the all-time greats, and certainly one of the nicest people that ever played the game. I don't know that people just realise how great he was, but the bloke sitting next to me does. Thorne, he'll score. It's like calling the sevens. Brad Thorne in to score. Another try for Brisbane. 44-12.
Phil Gill looks to the heavens.
Well, I don't know whether he can help you now, Phil.
I think it's a bit late now. And I said it about the Melbourne performance. It's a shame that a team goes out in that fashion, and the same has got to be said for the Sydney City Roosters. They've had a better season than what we're seeing with its finale now. Just a big fend into the sternum of Shane Rigon, and Brad Thorne, he goes through. He doesn't get many tries, but he's happy with that one.
Brad Fittler has finally come from the field, and Lockyer converts. Sorry, Walker was it? De Vere it was that took the kick.
Well, that's what I like to see. Thorne getting one off the ruck there. He's too easy to contain in the middle of the ruck. One-on-one, very hard to contain. Pushes away and scores the try for Brisbane.
Yeah, Gordon Tallis, a sporting gesture. Although probably it was more of a sporting gesture from Brad Fittler when I think about it, congratulating Tallis on their victory. And I guess in the last few minutes of this telecast, we should be talking to the former stars about tomorrow, Canterbury v Parramatta, and what the winner has to do to beat this team. And I guess in Parramatta's case, they know what has to be done to beat them. Langer. Parramatta's problem might be getting over the top of Canterbury. Junee. They're going to try and nail him. Around Darren Smith. Barnett taken by Walters. It's amazing what a lead like this can do. Big second row forwards chasing like wingers. Thorne was down the ground on top of that kick. 35 away from Sydney City's line. Goulet, Singh. Punched down by Thorne. Hammered him into the ground. Lamb. Benetti. Sailor. Miles of time. The only person that chased the ball was Benetti, the kicker. Tomorrow's telecast, 4 o'clock. The Eels versus the Bulldogs. They, without any doubt, were the undisputed champion clubs through the decade of the 80s. They provided some magnificent grand final victories and some personal clashes. And they return to the football stadium tomorrow to work out which one of them will play Brisbane in the grand final next Sunday.
And how ironic is it, Ray, that 4 of the mistake here in the play the ball area, 4 of the leading lights for the Parramatta team tomorrow are ex-Canterbury players. It's just another little added spice into what should be a marvellous contest. Hopefully a big crowd will get out to the Sydney Football Stadium. The weather is good.
They say it's a sellout, Pete.
Excellent. The footy's been sensational, and when arch rivals come together, it's always a good way to spend an afternoon watching them go around. There's no doubt the Eels and the Bulldogs not great fans of each other.
Junie. Fletcher. Have a look at the tackle Sydney City have been asked to make over and above Brisbane. Ricketson. Fletcher. Inside. Lamb. Cross. It's Riggin. Lamb. Holding it back for Gaffey. Lost. And it came off the feet and went forward for Brisbane again for De Vere. Very quickly, Wold, Canterbury and Parramatta. Which one do you think will go through?
Well, I back Parramatta. Well, my form hasn't been real flash. I just think that they're a little bit too fresh. And Canterbury, they've been in smash-up derbies for a few weeks. Plus, you can't ignore the form at the back of the scrum for the Eels.
Fat man.
Well, I think Parramatta can win. I think Canterbury will win. Work that out.
Sailor. Just take that into another frame of my brain to work it out. Lost by Lee. Dived on by Logan.
Well, Parramatta's got the form on the board and they're playing some good football, but Canterbury are just on a roll. Everything is going right for them. We've got Daryl Halligan kicking goals from all over the park.
Cleary with a dummy pull into open space. Full back to beach. Support coming. But Summers the defence. Magnificent tackle. Darren Smith it was. Still a chance. Barnett fires a one-hander. Lamb looks for a gap. Serves the ball on the outside. Elsgood scores a try. Late, but better late than never.
Yeah, they made the break down the left-hand side of the field. And the next ruck, Jack Elsgood has finished it off on the right-hand side. Nigel Gaffey showed good speed here. Through the dummy, straightened up. Got away from the clutches of Andrew G. Tried to position his man on the inside, Matt Singh, but a try-saving tackle there once again from Darren Smith. Numbers on the right-hand side. It was just a matter of getting the ball out there, and Adrian Lamb did well. Got behind Lee. They turned Steve Renouf around, and Jack Elsgood gets a try. Again, too little too late, but Wayne Bennett would like them to finish on a positive note. This isn't the one that they wanted.
Okay.
Probably not, Pete, but I think the ball has got out there. Desperate to score a try, the Roosters, but I think that the one positive note that Wayne Bennett will get out of that was the way that they managed to recover from what looked like a certain try. Darren Smith getting back to provide pretty good work for Michael De Vere, who didn't panic and race up to take the ball carrier. He just waited, held off. It was a bit difficult for decision for him to make.
This is a pretty good-looking kick from the sideline. Has he got it? Yes, he has. Great kick. Walker took it. And haven't they missed him, Walker, since round 18?
They have. I guess you're right, Wally. It's a good sign of enthusiasm, isn't it, when you're leading by 30-odd and you still get numbers back despite the fact they weren't able to stop the try. They still got about 7 or 8 players back. There's the attendance, just under 30,000.
And that attendance, I think, would be a very big worry for the National Rugby League. The question is simple. What has happened in Brisbane? We all know what has happened. But why are they staying away? Are they resentful? There's a lot of questions to be posed of the Brisbane public, and it probably needs some kind of a survey done. I can remember sitting here doing a match, I think it was Parramatta and Brisbane, with 56,000. They drew 58 against the Gold Coast here one day. So the people of Brisbane, 28,000 today for a sudden death semi-final involving their own team. What's happened? Gaffey.
Yeah, it's an awful day too. Only about 26, 27 degrees. Absolutely glorious.
Lockyer with a smiling Wayne Bennett. That passes forward. One thing I do know, Wayne Bennett, rather have him on his side than not having him at all. He is a great admirer of young Darren Lockyer, Wayne Bennett. Tallis, look at the heroes sitting around their coach, the Australian coach. Steve Roach, I didn't get to you. You've already played your cards, though. It doesn't matter who plays Brisbane.
Oh, I think Parramatta will win tomorrow. I think they're just a little bit more creative than their opponents, Canterbury. Smith and Dimmick on the fringe of the rucks, but I can't see anyone beating Brisbane if they perform like this.
Walker and G. I hope his performance hasn't been forgotten in the wash that has been left by Lockyer. Campion. Sydney City with it. Last couple of seconds of the game. And there it is, full time. So Brisbane are on their way to their 4th grand final. They've won all 3 that they've contested. And they have beaten a sadly out of form Sydney City today by 46 points to 18.